Sit in the hallway, old man.
With that, Natalie burst into laughter. The elite employees she brought with her also struggled to hold back their laughter, shaking with amusement. I felt a surge of anger deep within me. Just as Natalie began to laugh at me, the conference room door unexpectedly opened and the members participating in the negotiations started to file in. The first to enter was a tall, distinguished, middle-aged man. He had a magnificent beard and a chiseled, handsome face. Paul, the president and today's negotiation partner, was responsible for the fate of the $30 million deal. Paul approached with a smile, extended his right hand, and greeted me.
It's been a while.
What?
Natalie was understandably shocked. The first person Paul sought to shake hands with wasn't her, the department head, but me. It's been a while, Paul. You look well. How's the family?
Thank you. My family's doing great. How's your brother?
He's doing well, enjoying life with his kids. As Paul and I exchanged a friendly handshake and hug, Natalie's face showed utter disbelief. And after this, Natalie would be hit with yet another shocking revelation. My name is Bob, and I'm 41 years old. I've been single all my life, and the only family I have are my brother and his family who live out of state. We grew up in a single-parent household. I heard that our dad left right after my brother was born. Our single mom worked herself to the bone, day and night, to provide for my brother and me. In fact, I never saw her sleeping. She led a life of constant work, leaving for her job before we woke up and coming home after we were asleep. I only realized how hard that was after she passed away. She passed away right when I graduated from high school. The cause was overwork. She took on multiple jobs to give my brother and me a better life. According to the people from my mom's workplace, whom I met at her funeral, she had been unwell before she passed away, but stubbornly refused to go to the hospital. In other words, she kept working through her illness, ultimately losing her life as a result. The reason she didn't go to the hospital was likely due to the cost and time associated with treatment and visits. That's how tight our finances were. I also learned for the first time after her death that she had been making significant sacrifices to send me to college. At the time, I was attending a prestigious private school in our local area. I had planned to start working full-time right after graduating from high school, but my mom wouldn't allow it. She insisted kids shouldn't worry about money and forced me to aim for a college that matched my level. I was looking for part-time jobs I could do after school, but she wouldn't allow that either, saying that studying was more important. When I learned this, I was overwhelmed with guilt.
I'm to blame for her death. If I had insisted on working part-time and helping with our finances, things might have been different. And living in the same house without noticing her condition makes me a failure as a son.
These thoughts kept circling in my mind, but no matter how much I regretted it, my mom was never coming back. All I had left was a small savings account and my brother, who was 3 years younger than me. Our grandparents had passed away long ago, and we had no relatives we could rely on in times of trouble. One day, suddenly, it was just the two of us. After my mom's funeral, I decided without hesitation that I would get a job right after graduating from high school. From that day on, I put all my effort into raising my brother in place of our mom. Fortunately, my brother was an excellent student and got into a prestigious school. He then went on to a top university, got a job at a major company, and happily got married at 28. He now has 2 lovely kids and lives happily with his family of 4. As for me, I took the entrance exam for graduate school a while later and got accepted. After graduating, I got a job at a major trading company, and I've been living a busy life ever since. My workplace is in an office building in the business district. My desk is in a corner of a spacious, well-air-conditioned sales floor. When people hear sales at a major trading company, they might imagine someone driven by ambition and a desire for promotion, but that's not the case for me. In my teens and 20s, I was desperate to be recognized as soon as possible. I felt frustrated that I couldn't get a fair evaluation because of my background and education, and more importantly, I believed that if I fell behind, I wouldn't be able to provide my brother with the environment he deserved. However, my brother started working part-time when he became a university student, and then he got a job and began earning his own money. Eventually, he got married and started his own family. When my only sibling got married, I felt a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, but I also felt like I had lost my purpose in life. I didn't know what to strive for anymore. Of course, I still needed to work to live. But the energy I had when I was driven by the mission to support my brother was gone. For the past decade, I've been working without much motivation. As long as I had enough money to live on my own, I didn't care about my salary or promotions. But this year, something happened that shook me up. It was the arrival of Natalie, who was newly assigned to the sales department. Natalie is in her late 30s, younger than me, but she's already been promoted to department manager. That makes her my younger boss. As if that weren't difficult enough, Natalie is also extremely proud of her academic background. From her first day, she talked at length about her elite education, which annoyed the tough salespeople. Natalie herself graduated from a well-known private university in New York. While it's not the top in the nation by academic standards, the brand power of the university is significant enough to boast about. Natalie knows this well and started looking down on graduates from universities she deemed inferior. Thus, she created a hierarchy based on academic backgrounds within the sales department. Her first target was my junior employee, Tom. He should still be in his 20s, but he had switched jobs a few times and joined this company recently. Tom is unusual in this industry because he only has a high school diploma. Due to family circumstances, he had to drop out of college and reluctantly chose to start working. During a company outing, he confided this to me with some difficulty. Because of the age difference, I hadn't talked much with Tom outside of work, but after hearing his story, I secretly started looking out for him. I think I felt an unspoken kinship because of our similar backgrounds. Even though Tom only had a high school diploma, he had attended a prestigious university before dropping out. To me, he seemed like a highly capable person, but Natalie thought differently. Given her obsession with academic credentials, she wasn't going to overlook Tom. Natalie called him to her desk almost every day and berated him in front of everyone.
Tom,
Yes.
I told you to be here within 10 seconds when called, didn't I? If you can't follow such a simple instruction, I doubt you even graduated elementary school, let alone college.
I'm sorry.
Natalie, clearly irritated, banged on her desk and glared at Tom. After a dramatic sigh, she hit Tom's bowed head with a rolled-up stack of papers.
The report I assigned to you is full of mistakes. There are so many typos and it's incredibly hard to read. Redo it and bring it back by noon.
But the morning shift ends in about 5 minutes.
So what? Do you think a high school graduate gets to take breaks like the rest of us? People who are inferior need to work several times harder than normal people.
Tom fell silent at such a harsh comment, but Natalie didn't seem to care.
Oh, and if you don't finish by the time I get back, I'll make you practice writing out all the misspelled words.
With that, Natalie ruthlessly barked at the stunned Tom and then cleared off her desk to go to lunch. The other salespeople on the floor had witnessed the scene, but no one stepped in to defend Tom or protest against Natalie. They probably just thought it was lucky to have one less rival for promotion. Sighing inwardly, I approached Tom. Tom, let's finish this in 10 minutes.
What, Bob?
I'm saying I'll help you. Come on, let's get started. I'm not about to skip lunch.
Thank you.
Together, we managed to split up the work and correct the report. We barely made it, but we did get to eat lunch. However, the relief of finishing on time was short-lived. Natalie said something shocking as she took the document from Tom.
Well, for someone with your background, you did a good job. I'll spare you the writing practice.
Thank you.
Now, Tom, go ahead and shred this document.
What?
Tom's eyes widened in surprise. He was instructed to create and revise the document, and now he was being told to destroy it. Anyone would doubt their ears. Natalie looked at Tom with amusement and said,
Didn't you hear me? I said shred this document.
But this was made under your instructions.
I assigned it to you as a learning exercise. I had a reliable junior employee prepare the client-facing document. Who would trust a document made by a high school graduate?
Tom's shoulders trembled with humiliation at Natalie's treatment. Unable to bear it any longer, I stood up and approached Natalie's desk. I mustered the courage to speak to her. Natalie, this is going too far. In my view, Tom is an excellent employee. Please give him another chance.
What? Are you serious? Tom is by far the most incompetent of my team members. A high school graduate is just a high school graduate.
When I heard Natalie use the word incompetent, I saw Tom flinch. I couldn't stand it anymore and decided to tell Natalie about my own background. According to your theory, Natalie, I'm the most incompetent here. After all, I didn't even go to college.
What? Are you saying you faked your credentials?
No, I didn't. After graduating from high school, I took the entrance exam for graduate school and got in. The reason I didn't go to college is because my mom passed away suddenly and I needed to work. The sales floor buzzed with murmurs at my revelation. While I had accurately reported my background during the hiring process, my colleagues didn't know I hadn't attended college. It seemed Natalie only knew my highest degree, and now she was glaring at me, deep in thought. I seized the moment to continue. I didn't attend college, but I don't think I'm inferior to anyone. I've been working as a successful sales rep up until now. So, Tom?
You're my driver.
Excuse me.
I said, you're my driver from today. You old man. Don't think you can do a job in sales without even having gone to college.
Apparently, my confession had completely enraged Natalie. From that day on, she treated me as her driver. I was no longer allowed to do my sales job and was instead assigned to drive her to meetings and carry her bags. One day, while this situation continued, our sales department landed a significant deal. It was an overseas negotiation worth $30 million. Successfully closing this deal would undoubtedly boost the company's reputation. Eager to impress, Natalie decided to take her favorite junior employees and personally handle the negotiation. I also went along as her driver and porter. Seeing the name of the client, I had a feeling about it, so I begged Natalie to let me sit in on the meeting. However, when we arrived at the conference room, Natalie tried to send me away without mercy.
Bob, you can leave now.
Why? You said I could stay as long as I didn't say anything?
A high school graduate's word isn't trustworthy. Besides, having someone like you here might harm our client's impression. Go wait in the car, driver.
Natalie said this with a smirk, clearly enjoying my reaction. She probably never intended to let me participate in the negotiation from the start. Suppressing my rising anger, I tried to speak to her as calmly as possible. Natalie, please. I'm not a driver. I'm a sales representative. I'll sit at the back. Just let me stay here.
Well, if you're that insistent, I suppose I can make an exception. But there's a condition. Can you handle it?
What condition?
Sit in the hallway, old man.
With that, Natalie burst into laughter. The elite employees she brought with her also struggled to hold back their laughter, shaking with amusement. I felt a surge of anger deep within me. Just as Natalie began to laugh at me, the conference room door unexpectedly opened, and the members participating in the negotiation started to file in. The first to enter was a tall, distinguished, middle-aged man. He had a magnificent beard and a chiseled, handsome face. Paul, the president and today's negotiation partner, was responsible for the fate of the $30 million deal. Paul approached with a smile, extended his right hand, and greeted me in German.
It's been a while.
What?
Natalie was understandably shocked. The first person Paul sought to shake hands with wasn't her, the department head, but me. It's been a while, Paul. You look well. How's the family?
Thank you. My family's doing great. How's your brother?
He's doing well, enjoying life with his kids. As Paul and I exchanged a friendly handshake and hug, Natalie's face showed utter disbelief. She cautiously asked,
Well, you two know each other?
What? You didn't know? Bob and I have been friends for 20 years. Honestly, the reason your company has this deal is because of him.
No way.
Natalie was so flustered that she even forgot to introduce herself to Paul. The realization that the person she had looked down on was close friends with the client's president had clearly thrown her off her usual composure. Paul leaned in and whispered to Natalie. This time he spoke in English, not German.
If you're not feeling well, you can wait in the hallway.
Do you speak English? And that line?
Natalie asked, eyes wide in surprise. It seemed she had assumed that Paul, being German, wouldn't understand English. Paul shrugged dramatically and replied,
You don't even know who you're negotiating with? I was born and raised in Germany, but my parents are American. I'm as American as they come.
So you heard me telling him to sit in the hallway?
I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but I waited by the door for a bit since it seemed busy. By the way, several people on my team also understand English.
As Paul spoke, Natalie turned pale. Her treatment of me had been completely overheard by Paul and the other clients. And this was a critical negotiation worth $30 million. Realizing the gravity of her mistake, Natalie collapsed onto the spot, looking utterly defeated. She was like a shell of her former self. I couldn't just leave her on the floor, so I managed to get her into a seat, but she was in no state to give a presentation in German. The recent events had clearly shocked her so much that she barely responded to our calls. Since Natalie, who was supposed to lead the negotiation, was now incapacitated, I had to step in as her replacement. The elite employees she had chosen feared being blamed if the deal fell through, so they suggested postponing the negotiation, but Paul wouldn't allow it. Since I deeply understood the project and could present it in German, I was chosen. Thanks to my German friend I made during grad school, I had learned enough German to be conversational by the time I joined the company. As a professional, I improved my business vocabulary through overseas training and dealings with international clients. My interactions with the multilingual Paul significantly enhanced my language skills. I wasn't worried about the presentation's content either. Knowing the client was Paul's company, I had secretly reviewed the negotiation details and presentation materials during breaks from the menial tasks Natalie assigned me. While I hadn't expected to step in as Natalie's replacement, I did hope that my close relationship with Paul would help the negotiation proceed smoothly. Despite the circumstances, Natalie's prepared presentation went exceptionally well. The other members of Paul's team were also impressed, and we successfully closed the $30 million deal that very day. After the negotiation, Natalie returned to the office and continued to stare blankly into space. It was clear she was in no condition to stay, so some female employees accompanied her home. The next day, Natalie didn't come to work. Shortly after the successful completion of the $30 million deal, a new project kicked off. Paul's report to our company revealed Natalie's excessive harassment and verbal abuse of her team members, resulting in her being stripped of her department head position and removed from the project team. Since Natalie had already been absent from work since the day after the negotiation, she would have been removed from the team sooner or later, even without Paul's report. Our sales department reported to the company everything about Natalie's conduct, including her treatment of team members based solely on their educational background and her harassment of targeted employees, especially Tom. While the internal investigation will take some time, it's certain that Natalie will face formal disciplinary action. For now, Natalie has been ordered to stay at home until the investigation is completed. Not long after, a temporary department head from outside the company arrived to replace Natalie, and for some reason, I was assigned to lead the projects in her place. The interim head explained that I was chosen because my presentation during the negotiation was well regarded, but I believe it was likely due to Paul's recommendation. As the project leader, I included Tom in the team. I had noticed Tom's talent for languages for a while. Even without studying abroad, he spoke German with a very clear accent. His secret was his exceptional auditory skills. With his excellent hearing, Tom could mimic any sound he heard perfectly. Although Tom still made many mistakes in reading and writing, I believed his excellent auditory skills would be a significant asset in business with overseas clients. So, I brought him into my team and made sure he worked closely with Paul's team. Thanks to this, Tom's language skills improved rapidly. Paul and his team were amazed at how quickly Tom picked things up. With Tom as a valuable new member, the project progressed smoothly. There were undoubtedly many other suitable candidates for the leadership role, but since I was entrusted with it, I was determined to ensure the project's success. Later, the internal investigation into Natalie's misconduct was completed. As a result, Natalie was demoted to a regular employee and transferred to a branch office in a rural area. Natalie had climbed to a department head position in her 30s, which was impressive. Such rapid advancement is difficult without an insatiable ambition for promotion. In fact, Natalie had aimed to be the top among her peers from the moment she joined the company, ruthlessly outmaneuvering others. For someone as ambitious as Natalie, being sent to a rural branch office was undoubtedly a tremendous humiliation. Natalie's goal wasn't just to climb the corporate ladder. Her ambition, driven by her elitist mindset, was to become an expatriate. She had expressed her desire for an overseas assignment from the time of her job interview, but unfortunately, that wish was never granted. It's possible that her being a woman had something to do with it. In any case, the recent events completely shattered her chances of an overseas posting. It's understandable that she would be devastated and left in a daze. Moreover, shortly after Natalie resumed work at her reassigned branch, another shocking event occurred. Tom, whom Natalie had always looked down on, was appointed as an expatriate. The junior employee she had constantly belittled had effortlessly achieved her long-held dream. She must have had a lot of mental stress. After hearing about Tom's assignment, Natalie took a leave of absence from the company. As for me, I'm still living a routine life, shuttling between home and the office. The only difference is that I'm now a bit more positive about my work. The projects I worked on with Paul's company was a huge success, and because of that achievement, I was promoted to department head. I initially turned down the promotion, thinking I wasn't suited for the role, but with encouragement from those around me, I eventually accepted. As a result, I now manage a large team of junior employees and spend my days running around to ensure they can perform to the best of their abilities. Although the increased overtime is physically taxing, I feel mentally healthier than before. My sense of duty to nurture my younger team members gives me the energy and motivation I need. I hadn't felt this way since my brother got married. Having a younger boss brought various changes to my life. I never expected to bring up the fact that I didn't go to college at this age, but in the end, it was thanks to Natalie that I was able to regain my lost motivation. I really do love this job where I can directly interact with people. I thought this as I rode in the car with a new team member on our way to meet a client.